It is a beautiful day outside. I just released a podcast episode that I hope you'll all listen to because I spoke to NDP MP Heather McPherson about her advocacy on Palestine. And I also asked her some questions about the internal issues at the NDP, including their handling of content creators during the campaign. You guys remember what they did to Jess? On Jagmeet Singh's campaign bus, who the NDP distanced itself from because she drew parallels between the dehumanization of kids in Palestine and the same dehumanization of Jewish children during the Holocaust. There was a statement put out by the party saying, "Oh, you can't compare anything to the Holocaust," and I just think that that's ridiculous. And it threw her under the bus. Like the National Post wrote this piece framing her as an OnlyFans star, and like it was just so salacious. And the way the NDP responded meant that nothing was done to mitigate those headlines, and she was crying on social media because she just wanted to help and was thrown under the bus.
In terms of the campaign, I mean, Rachel, like there's 7 of us now. There were so many mistakes made during that campaign. Like, let's be honest. Yeah. Like this
would you say that's one of them?
I don't think it was great.
I really recommend you go and check that out. But because it is such a beautiful day, I'm just going to quickly mention a few things that I didn't have a chance to get to this week because I was covering more important stories. And I'll tell you a few funny things. And then we're going to wrap this up. We just found out, according to the New York Times, that Elon Musk can't pee right because of his use of this thing that I don't think I can say on any platform where I'm going to post this. And this headline, it does make me happy. Another thing that makes me happy is Elon Musk was in a press conference today with Donald Trump and he had a black eye. And he claimed it was because his 5-year-old son punched him in the face.
What, is your eye okay? What happened to your eye? I noticed there was a bruise there.
Well, it wasn't, I wasn't anywhere near France, so, but no,
I didn't notice
about
the First Lady of France
getting slapped, you know.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, no, I was just horsing around with Lil X, and I said, "Go ahead, punch me in the face," and he did. Turns out, even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually does.
That was X that did that.
Yeah,
X could do it. If you knew X,
I was with his mom right now, but I didn't really feel much at the time, and then I guess it bruises up. But I just horsing around with the kids.
I didn't notice it actually.
As they say, X, gon' give it to you. We also got a few leaks about some early legislation from Carney's government, but I haven't independently verified these. And frankly, I'm just going to wait to see the actual bill that's tabled and we can talk about it then. Speaking of the House of Commons, we also got a beautiful look at what it's going to be like having someone who is the father of a prominent grifter media type elected to Parliament. Turns out he gets a lot of coverage when he speaks in the House of Commons. I'm sure that has everything to do with the content of what he's saying and not who he is related to. I'm sure we're going to see some really great critical coverage. Because remember, Juno News has no agenda aside from pursuing the truth. Which is why in all of their fawning reporting on newly elected Conservative MP David Bexty, I am sure Juno is going to disclose that David is their co-founder's father. Speaking of Nepo babies, I am so excited to share that Canada has its own Logan Roy. Ben Mulrooney is the eldest boy son of Brian Mulrooney. He's been spending a lot of time on social media implying that people protesting genocide are anti-Semitic. If people were protesting at synagogues or churches or mosques because of the faith of the individuals in there, that would be deeply wrong. But that's not what's happening. One of the high-profile incidents of one of these protests was because a house of worship, a synagogue, was being used for a real estate presentation to buy land in the illegally settled West Bank, which is a war crime. In fact, a spokesperson for Independent Jewish Voices said that it is shameful to see a place of worship used for this reason. With his bad faith framing, Ben is showing us just how smart he is. And that's why instead of L to the OG, I guess now it's B to the EN. There is a genocide going on. There are children starving to death. And they are starving because of Israel's illegal blockade on humanitarian aid and their refusal to allow that aid to enter Gaza in anything more than a trickle that is distributed by a controversial organization being used for political and military purposes. In fact, Sam Hirsch, who is also involved with Independent Jewish Voices, told Ben Mulrooney just how problematic it is that he is continually conflating the Jewish community with Israel. And unfortunately, Ben is not the only person who is doing that. This Liberal MP just recently posted about campaigning on legislating safe access zones. But she shared this in the context of a protest outside of Casa Loma in Toronto, which she implied indiscriminately targeted a community because of their faith. But what they were protesting was this event. This is the main photo that the organizers posted from it. And the event was centered around their main guest, who is a former Israeli UN ambassador who is a far-right politician. They were protesting the genocide. It is incredibly harmful to conflate far-right Israeli politicians with an entire religious group, many of whom oppose the genocide. The Liberal government could be using its time and its resources to pressure the Israeli government to end the genocide. But instead, its MPs are spending their time threatening to use legislation intended to protect the Jewish community and other religious groups to criminalize anti-Israel protests. Guys, that's what Trump is doing. After the things that we have seen and heard this week, the testimony from on the ground from humanitarian aid workers, from healthcare workers, it is really hard to stomach this kind of bad faith framing of people who are protesting those atrocities. I hope that you all have the weekend that you deserve, and I'll see you on Monday. Until then, what do you think of all this?